Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Foreign Alliance. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Luke.
And in today's video, we are doing a full review of Apple TV's Plus original Truth Be Told Season 2. Like and subscribe. It helps out the channel quite a lot. Comment down below your thoughts about the show. How did you find it compared to Season 1? Let's get into the review. So to summarize the show, takes place a year after Season 1 with a new case to do with Poppy. She doesn't want to do other case, but she finds she actually is more into Vine with this case. She finds the body of the victim, so she feels like she needs to find the victim or the perpetrator.
Yeah, so she feels she doesn't want to get involved. She finds that she needs to because an old friend of hers returns to town.
Yeah.
And it's the husband of her friend. And coincidentally, she stumbles upon the dead body of him and another person inside their family home. Or it's kind of like a home or an art studio, but very suspectly. She's well out of the way and she finds it whilst looking for a bathroom. And then from that, the case basically gets closed. They consider it a murder-suicide. And she then feels obligated to be involved out of favour of her friend. And then from there, there's lots of twists, turns, plenty of plot holes that lead to eventually you finding out who murdered these two people and why. Without spoiling it, we'll get into it a bit later. I personally think compared to the first season, the mystery just wasn't nearly as good. The explanation behind the murder, I think, lacked. And I think the characters that they introduced were not... They either added nothing to the story or they made the story worse. It was an interesting second season. Contradictory, some people have reviewed it and said it was better, but I just can't agree with them. I can't agree that it's better than Season 1. And you'll see in this video we have lots and lots of things to talk about regarding it. But is there anything we're missing from this summary of the season?
I would probably say that it tries to be different than Season 1 and it does a decent job. And then at the end, it can't help itself by falling back to what it does. And then because Season 1 and it kind of does the same thing, you want the person to go that the show presents to you to get into trouble, but it doesn't do that. And even though Season 1 had so many twists, they were okay. There were maybe too many of them, but in this season, the one twist, it might work out, but it does not make sense at all. It would have been better if they stack with the character that they intended. Like, why not just be its own thing? Like, that's what they intended to do, and then they didn't do it. I don't know why. I think it would have been a lot better if they did.
Yeah, the plot holes for this show are they're endless. They're absolutely endless. Let's get into this review. Let's give it a verdict, so we can then talk about these plot holes for those that have seen the show and might want to hear the spoilers.
Okay, you want to go first?
Me, I think I gave the first season a pretty good rating.
I gave it like a 4.
A 4? I'm thinking for this, I really think it's like a 1. I find it hard to like anything about it. I think the characters have become less likable. The new characters are even worse. The murder was not interesting. The reason behind the murder was so not believable. and in the end, the murderer was just stupid. It's just a poor choice. I really feel like they ruined a good thing, and that's why the rating to me is so low. If season 1 was average or didn't exist, the rating may have been a bit higher for this, but the fact that you've ruined a good thing, to me, is why I think it deserves a low rating of a 1. And I would just recommend anyone not to watch it if you've seen season 1. Just don't waste your time and watch it.
I'm going to go a little bit higher, but I'm still going to go with an epic disappointment 2. And the reason being is that if you're going to do something different, just do it. And unfortunately, they did what season 1 did so many times, the twist, but they thought, you know what will be clever? We'll just do it once. And this will be so epic, you'll basically go, didn't see that coming. But unfortunately, you give them props, but you go, well, that twist isn't like worth anything. So yeah, 2 epic fail. The only people that I'd recommend watching this is fans of season 1. And besides that, I would just say watch season 1 and don't even bother watching season 2, if I got to be honest. I think season 1 is hands down the superior season. Like, season 2 doesn't even feel like I don't know, it's not even in the same length. So unfortunately, it just tried to be different and then shot itself in the foot, unfortunately.
Totally. Moving into a spoiler section, if you haven't seen the show, you may not want to watch the rest because it will probably make you not want to watch it. For me, there's just so many plot holes, and it felt like the writing just went everywhere. It's like they just had too many ideas and couldn't stick with it. In the end, the murderer, do I believe their motive? No. But it makes sense. It kind of makes sense. But they kind of work backwards. It's like they've decided we want to have a character. We want their husband to be killed, and we want it to be because their husband knew secrets about his wife. And then you go, okay, well, wouldn't it make sense that the wife's killed the husband to keep her secrets?
Yes.
Not for this show. Instead, we're going to make it that their employee who didn't want their job to disappear because this person could lose their fortunes, to hire an ex-cop that doesn't even make sense into how they tie into the show, kill him, and then they just create all these random offshoot stories and extra people to then try and make that possible. It's like someone has got, we really want to make it the story that this happened, and people are like, well, that doesn't make sense. How do we make that possible? Well, we'll just keep adding all these extra stories. We'll add new characters. We'll add this person's lover. This person's got schizophrenia. This person hates this person, so they would have killed him. It's just so out of control to try and make this one scenario work. And I just think they did such a bad job of that. Like, the storylines and plot holes are so massive. From that, what do you think about the killer that they chose in the end, or the mastermind behind it, and the person that assists them with the murders?
Well, the problem is that the show makes you think from the beginning, but we have that confrontation in episode 5 that you're completely on board with Micah being the killer. And I was really going, they're doing something different here. They're not going with the twist that season 1 did, and I was going to give it credit for that. And then it's like, no, it's not Micah, it's her employee. And then it's like, I was thinking, that's clever then. And I thought to myself, well, is it clever though? It's like, it doesn't really make sense. She says she loves Micah, and then it's like, they wrote it for the sake of it, to them going, we don't want it to be Micah, we want it to be the only person that it could have been, because really it wasn't going to be anyone else.
Yeah, the story, they really messed that part up. I think that they wrote a good possible story, and sounds like we need a final twist. What can it be? And even the fact that the person that they got, she got a former police officer that had nothing really important to do with the story to commit the murder, purely because he had a vendetta against Josh, Micah's husband, because of a documentary made. That to me does not seem like a probable reason for a police officer to kill someone. It is so out of control. And then basically from that, they would have never have got caught, except for the writers felt the need to add that he had an extra person with him,
son,
who then turned out to be a son that led them all on these random trails, and then eventually finishes at who was the murderer. Like, if it wasn't for that one small detail, this show does not exist, because they would never be caught, because it does not make any sense as to who would have done it. It clearly just looked like a murder-suicide.
She even admitted that herself, that, it was a perfect plan if we didn't count on someone else being in the room. It's like the writers even admitting that we just added the son being there that he didn't know about, or, he had in a previous life, just so Poppy could find out who it really was. Even the writers admitted it.
Well, the son added really nothing. I guess the direction the writers thought was the son, at first, we'll see him with another dude without their shirts on. We'll go, oh, he must be gay. He's having an affair with his wife. They're making us think, oh, she wants to kill him because of these affairs. And then suddenly go, nah, it's his son. And we go, well, what was the point of that? Him having a son, you go, oh, maybe Micah wants to kill him because he has a son that she didn't know about. Nope, she knew about that, apparently didn't really care. And then you go, well, then what's the point of it then? Oh, let's just make it that the son had a gay lover who worked for Micah. So let's just relink, let's send them on another journey. And it's like, it doesn't add up. Like, they just constantly just trying to add all these ridiculous links. Like, none of the links make sense. The police officer would not want to kill the husband. The husband having a son is not important. The son having a boyfriend that worked for Micah, not important. The boyfriend being angry at Micah for... What was he in trouble for? Like, he decided to go on Facebook and have a rant about her and say what a bad boss she was. So then she gets her friend to kill him. Like, none of it, it's so unrealistic, it's not even funny. Like, the show is out of control with the writing. It's terrible.
And the problem is that it has so many side stories they felt like they needed to add in. So we got Marcus's basically main story is these missing girls have gone missing. There's like 3 or 4 missing girls from the same high school that her daughter goes to. And then this parent at the bar says, oh, my daughter's gone missing. And you're thinking, okay, where's this leading to? Yet again, there was no point to it, because the girl just happens to, I don't know, just show up, or the bikies just turned up.
Yeah, they find her. They show they don't show them looking for her. They don't show them doing anything.
Yeah.
They just find her, and then for some reason that's made people go, oh, the streets are pretty bad here in Oakland. Maybe we should start changing the way we do things around here. It's like added nothing. And then I don't know if that's setting up for his daughter going missing in the next season, because she, for some weird reason, her boyfriend comes and picks her up and takes her on a drive, and he feels the need to take her bag off, leave it at the front door, and then leave the gate open to make it look like she's been abducted. Like, that is just stupid. Like, that wouldn't happen. That's just like poor writing. That's just them trying to plant this seed for a possible next season. Other plot holes. What do we got? There's a lot. Or side stories. What about the divorce? What do you think about Poppy and the divorce? What does that add to the storyline?
Oh, basically, so they can call up the family lawyer. That's it.
Yeah, like at the end of last season, they're not happy. The next season, her husband's in there to add nothing. They have a few arguments, and then he just isn't in the season anymore.
Yeah.
So we're led to believe this whole thing about them getting a divorce, but by the end of the season, they're not. But they're not together. He's like moved back to New York, I think.
Yeah.
Other side story, Poppy's getting sued from the first season.
Yeah, that was probably the best side story because at least it connected the both seasons, but still they did it okay, but it would have been better if they at least...
Well, did we really get a conclusion from that? Like the lawsuit, they hardly followed it on, and then what? Just at the end, the only closure you get is Poppy go, "Oh, I'll just give him everything."
Yeah.
It was like, no, that doesn't add up. Other side stories, they decided to feel the need to add this really long-winded backstory to Poppy and Micah as to their childhoods, how they grew up, and Poppy and her father and her family. Like, what is there to say about that? It's just...
I guess it gave some reasons to why she is the person that she is, but it yet again, it feels like all these side stories are taken away from the main journey, because really the main journey has no substance, so it feels like they need to bring in some more stuff to add to the party, and they don't do it properly.
Yeah, they tried to fill the episodes with side stories that weren't very good.
Yeah.
And I just can't stop going back to that original murder that follows. It's like the motive behind it and like the secret they're trying to hide. Like that Micah took someone else's... someone else's identity. Like, is that a story? Like she's not pretending to be her, but she knew this girl, and this girl was a fantastic artist and wrote a book about her life, and she just took her book and became famous from it. It's like, would that lead to someone like killing another person? And the only thing that makes that somewhat interesting is they go, well, because Rose was schizophrenic, no one would believe her. Because otherwise you would just go, that person stole my book. I wrote that and here's the evidence. But they feel it's convenient to go, well, she's actually got schizophrenia and medicated, so she goes and tells people, I go, oh, you're just crazy, you're just making things up. That never happened. It's like, again, just convenience, another plot convenience that they add in.
And also we get, basically Marcus is being treated by the... Even though he was former police, he's getting mistreated because he was black. Was that really necessary? No.
They just set that up from the first episode. He's, walking down the street wearing a hoodie and a basketball in a rich area, and then he gets questioned like, oh, what are you up to? You up to no good because you're black. It's like, I don't doubt that doesn't happen in real life, but that was a pure setup. From that moment, you're like, well, this season's going to be about like Black Lives Matter or police brutality, something like that. I'm not against those things, but I feel like they just added it to tick a box and go, yeah, we need to mention that because that's what we do, because we're at Apple and everything Apple does is all about equality and raising awareness. And then they tie it back in right at the end by he happens to get shot. And he wants to sue the police for wrongfully shooting him, because they do. But he's the bad guy. The police like beat another cop over it. They like bump him as he's walking out the station, and they hate him because he wants to sue someone from shooting him. He's the bad guy because he got shot, but he's the bad guy because he wants to sue someone from shooting him. But that's obscene. That is just stupid to me.
Have you noticed with Truth Be Told, they make out that police are either just stupid or just corrupt?
Yeah, pretty much. That they can't do their job, but Poppy Parnell, who has a podcast, she can solve a murder. She can solve everything. She can find the clues, she can go interrogate witnesses, she can break and enter. That's fine. She can do whatever she wants. She has a podcast. Biggest plot hole of all time that does not add up. She would, like in one episode, they sneak onto a crime scene, and like one, they face no consequences for it, and two, like police are surrounding the area, but yet they still do it. And Marcus's former OPD, he can do whatever he wants. Apparently, he can call up anyone and ask for any information because he's a former police officer, and apparently that's fine. Everyone just goes, "Oh, okay, you were a police officer once. Here you go. You can have whatever you want." Absolutely stupid. And do you think Micah needed to have any backstory with Poppy? Do they even need to know each other for this show to still work?
No, but they wanted it to be more personal, but in a way, it works in a certain way, but in a way, like, what do we know about Micah? She stole someone's identity. She got sick of, for some reason, she got tired of hanging out where she lived, so she preferred hanging out with black African Americans. Just, that's really what we know about her.
And I think the motive for her and her husband's death, that kind of adds up. I can believe that makes sense. The fact that her and Poppy knew each other, I think, was purely just to tie in some of the other backstories, because we are made to believe throughout the season that Micah's done it because she's angry.
Yeah.
She challenges Poppy. She's like, "Yep, try and prove it was me."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Well, why would she be doing that?" So they add backstory to go, "Well, she has dirt on Poppy, and Poppy has dirt on her." So it's like, you dob on me, I'm going to make a Facebook post about you, and I'm going to go to the news. Oh, well, I'm going to talk about you on my podcast. And they just have this back and forward fight to try and keep you thinking that Micah's guilty when she's not. She's just angry at Poppy, and they have backstories. And then the whole backstory is just absurd. Like, of all things, they feel the need to throw in that Poppy witnessed her abusive carer drown, and
she pushed her,
and she didn't try and help her. And you're like, what does that add to the show? Like, literally, so that Poppy can go, "Oh, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. This is what happened." Like, what do we take away from that? What other really big missing parts that don't make sense? I think Poppy's authority in what she's allowed to do, like that the police just don't prevent her, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
She, on podcast, literally accuses people of murder, but doesn't get sued for that. Like, that is defamation. You cannot be doing that. But no, apparently that's fine. There's just so many random characters and things. Like, I know from the first season, you don't enjoy her family or her sisters. You don't see the value that they bring to this show.
Out of all the characters, like, they're really minor.
They don't offer anything. They really don't. They're not involved in the murders. It's a show about solving a murder, but they want us to also care about
her family.
Yeah, but they want us to care about the person solving the murder and their backstory. It's like watching an episode of CSI, but then they focus on, like, the investigator and their family life. It's like, that's not what we're there for. We want to see them solve a crime. We don't really care what their backstory is. Like, if it's related to the crime, yes, but it shouldn't be. But they tied it in. They made it relevant to this crime because they had to bring in. I think if they didn't bring in someone that was known to Poppy or an old friend, they couldn't have brought in all these ridiculous backstories. And it has to be some kind of setup for season 3, which I hope they don't make, but I think they will. What do you think how would have you structured or wrote this season to make it work, to make it better?
Guess if I had my way, either do 2 things. Have Micah still be in the show, but either have her be... Don't know Poppy at all. She's... could be anyone. We still get... The husband still dies. Poppy doesn't find the body. But, the wife convinces Poppy to do the crime. I think that would have been better. And you can have your twist. Oh, maybe it's the wife. Maybe it's the brother. Maybe that way. Or if they wanted to keep it the same story, have it be Micah and us going, yeah, the person that we thought was going to do it actually did it. Because the thing that they do in both seasons, the person that you don't like or the person that you find should get some consequences don't. Like Micah, what happens to her? She basically stole someone's identity, leaves her key in the car, and then drives off another car, and who knows what she's going to do. Like, like, how is that good writing? And then in season 1, the good twin kills the father and nothing happens to her.
I think if I was to redo it, which this still has plot holes because it's so hard to fix this show, would be that Poppy and Micah do not know each other. Micah has asked Poppy to help her solve the case of her husband, that he's been murdered, and she wants to know who. The police have said it's a murder-suicide, and she's like, nope, he would never have done that. He would not have killed himself and killed this other person. Please look into it. She looks into it, and then through that, maybe she discovers that he had secrets about like Micah and stealing her identity. Maybe Micah, when she was younger, she and another girl, this Rose, went missing, which could tie in this missing girl, and maybe there's like some kind of like a sex trade or something where they steal young girls in the area. They were there. This girl was killed, or maybe Micah had to kill her, and then she took her identity, changed her name, and became this person, and then became famous from it. And then her husband knew this. Her husband was going to tell everyone. So then she arranged for someone to kill her husband. That, to me, would be a decent story. But again, same fault with the first one is, why would Micah ask Poppy to try and solve it?
That's main.
Yeah, why would you ask someone to solve a murder that you were involved in? Yeah. And it makes sense with the original, because we go, well, because she didn't do it. That's why she asked Poppy. She knows Poppy's a good investigator. It didn't take Poppy long to work out that Micah was had stolen someone else's identity. Why would you risk that? Wouldn't you think she should have been like, my husband had these secrets on me. Someone's killed him. It wasn't me. The police have closed the case. They said it's a murder-suicide. Awesome. That's it. Done. Continue to live my life. Be rich and famous. No. I'm going to invite someone to investigate this murder, only to discover that I am a complete fool. Yes, she had nothing to do with the murder, but of course something was going to come out of it. Of course Poppy was going to find out her deep secret. So, like, why? It makes no sense. It would never happen. She should have been stoked her husband was dead, thanked her lucky stars, and moved on and continued to live her life. But instead, to create a show, they just made stupid drama.
Indeed, Ian. And out of all the characters, did you at least like one storyline? Who was your favourite character, or unfortunately did you miss Aaron Paul's character?
Oh, Aaron Paul was my favourite character in the first one. I don't think he belonged in this season. Favourite character. Can't say I really liked many of them. Maybe the father. The father became more likeable. He was less aggressive in the second season, and he tended to stand up for his family. And I think he became likeable. I didn't mind the lawyer that they eventually brought in. He's a bit of a quirky character. A lot of characters became less likeable. Marcus was just pointless and annoying. Poppy became very annoying. Like I actually don't like her as a character anymore. I don't believe that she could solve crimes. I think she's a bit of a bitch, and she was quite rude to her. I know she thought her friend committed murder, but if she was her friend, I just don't think she would have went about it the way she did.
Yeah.
I think she would have believed her friend, and then together try to work this out and said, hey, I'm finding out this information. Tell me the truth. Did you make up these lies about yourself? But no, she felt the need to slander and on her podcast. It just doesn't add up to me. Yourself, do you have any characters you could have liked out of this season?
I did like Marcus in season 1, and he's okay in season 2. Probably the lawyer.
I just think with Marcus, what is his role in the second season? He happens to get a job in security. Again, why would Micah invite the best friend and partner in crime of the person that she's fighting with, or is going to uncover her secrets? You were just inviting people in to find everything out about you.
Yeah.
So I just didn't get what his role was, and he would just always show up and be like, yep, yeah, I used to be a police officer, it's alright, I'll solve this, don't worry guys. It's just so stupid. I got sick of hearing that he was former OPD. And it's just so dumb. Oh, we could go on forever about the plot holes, but I just please don't make another season, Apple, please. Like I think you've already ruined season 1, and I think season
2.
Well, I think season 2 has made season 1 worse now. You know, like how do I recommend a show to someone? Say, oh, watch season 1, but don't watch the second, because they will. Everyone's gonna go, but it was good. I'm gonna watch season 2. It's like, just don't, please don't. So I feel like they'll make a 3rd season. It's gonna be even wilder, and it just make it worse. It's surprising from the stars that are involved in this show. And the budget and the power that Apple have that they could butcher this. What are your final words?
I would say it's very disappointing. And look, I believe in redemption. Like, if they do season 3 well, I'd like there to be, but I don't know. It just feels like, because I remember you saying that season 2 is they actually wrote it themselves, and season 1 was more based on the book, and you can actually tell that, like, they need to hire better writers.
Yeah, they lost its structure. It's literally like a group of people got together and go, well, you come up with a twist, you come up with a twist, and you come up with a twist, and then we just add it all in. Or they got a whole bunch of random things, and they put in a thing and they shook it around. They go, yeah, this is what we're gonna go with. Yeah, it's so dumb. Like, it actually baffles me that someone could have sat there and had this for the season and go, this is our plan for the season, and someone said, yeah, that sounds good, that's going to work. Surely someone could have been like, that's horrible, that is a dumb idea, please redo this, that is not going to work. But no, it got past everyone.
So what's your final thoughts?
Oh, don't watch it, please, and don't make a season 3.
Well, thank you for helping, Luke. See you in the next video. Like and subscribe. Don't get us wrong, we loved season 1, but season 2 just didn't live up to season 1. So see, let the force be with you. Bye bye.